Bitcoin is flashing all the classic signals to buy right before every rally. Problem is, we're not exploding right now. But here's the catch. We've got macro chaos, we've got Donald Trump, we've got gold rallying, and Bitcoin is staying still. So in this video, we're going to go a bit deeper. We're going to look at the signals. We're going to look at liquidity, which has been mentioned a lot in my comments. But is the market faking us? Now, there's two signals on this chart. I don't often use the MACD, but the MACD is doing a nice little juicy crossover at the bottom on the 3-day time frame. We've also got a confirmed bullish divergence on the RSI. That's two good ones. When we go a little bit deeper in terms of the daily time frame, we're also above the 50% mark on the RSI, which I covered on Monday. But we've not really filtered through and added to that upside move. We still have some signals in a way to look at. For example, in my opinion, we've got to look at certain situations around market structure. We're still not broken that trend yet. But realistically, there's a few other things we need to look at. We are also on the moving average 200, which is quite interesting. So we're still stuck behind it and underneath it. That is a bit of an issue. And as you know, if you watch my previous video, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss anything. I am currently looking more at shorts on altcoins versus, say, longs currently. But this is why I'm looking at this market with a very open mind, because there's a lot of things happening, but it feels like something's a little bit off. Again, we're going for a retest. Get above that, along with the MACD, along with a change of character. It could get very, very interesting. But we're dancing around it. The bulls have not claimed it at all yet. So we need to be very, very, very mindful. Now, I want to make it known that obviously a setup isn't a signal. Ultimately, what could happen is there could be some market bait going on. Let's talk about the obvious in the room here. Tariffs, rate cuts, market jitters from recession fears, small companies going bust, all that kind of stuff, not to mention what's happening in Japan. We've got all the headlines here, right? Literally, that will make the previous regime in terms of Biden and stuff like that in 2022, 2023 look relatively calm. And there was some really weird stuff and wonderful stuff going on there too. So yeah, let's talk about something that's quite obvious. Let's talk about gold. Now, gold is absolutely flying, okay? Which is interesting. So with this, it's outperforming everything at the minute. In terms of the last year or so, it has been unbelievable. And gold is where the institutions go when the world looks a little bit risky. It's a bit of an obvious one. Bitcoin wants to be the asset, but it's still viewed as speculative. It's still viewed in some cases not trustworthy. It's still, I think, for a lot of people, especially with big money, it's not like worthy of that status just yet. And that's where we get a bit of a problem. And I think that is one of the big fundamental situations we have ourselves. As much as I love Bitcoin, we want it to behave like gold. We don't want it to behave like the S&P. We don't want it to behave like the NASDAQ. We want it to behave like gold. We want it to be, when there's uncertainty, we want people to go to it. We've had it in small moments where it's happened in certain countries with like Argentina and Turkey and stuff, where there's been huge inflation. People have used Bitcoin. That's fair enough. We've had it with banks going a little bit weird and wonderful with money. They flock to Bitcoin. But in certain situations like this, it hasn't happened. And that's where the big issue could be longer term. And as I've alluded to it, we are acting more and more like the S&P 500 in a way. Traditional markets aren't really confirming the bullish risk on behavior yet, in my opinion. And Bitcoin is still correlated to this. That's an issue. So fingers crossed it changes. But right now, we're going to wait. If you want deeper breakdowns and trade setups and all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff, certainly around my own portfolio with dividends or my crypto portfolio, check out the link to Patreon. I do 4 videos on there, and there's a Discord chat, which is pretty much alpha central. It's ridiculous. So I do read the comments, and I've seen a lot of people talk about the M2. M2 is going to save it all. Once it starts pumping, we're going to start seeing the money rotate into the world of crypto. Altcoins will be saved. Woohoo! I don't think like that at the minute. I personally don't. So money printer, no one knew about this until COVID, obviously. But the situation is liquidity not flowing into risk assets yet is because of what I've just said before. There's still major uncertainty. We're not going to see this at any moment in time hitting crypto. There's far too much fear. It's been hoarded. Cash is king at the minute, right? Now, we've got to look at the situation here. Liquidity is the fuel, but it needs confidence to ignite. Let's be brutally honest here. You cannot just go in and go, oh, money, we're fine. It doesn't work like that. The big caveat to all of this, most of the M2 money flow, if you're looking at the global one, It's all coming out of China at the minute, and there's a lot of tariff uncertainty there as well. Not to mention Japan as well. Japan's an interesting one too. The tariffs in terms of that is just an overall heading. There's other things that are going wrong right now, and that's going to be important. So don't get caught up in the emotions of it. And I do think we will eventually get rate cuts, right? We will eventually get more liquidity turn up. But what about if that liquidity just goes into Bitcoin, for example? There's so many situations here. Too many people just think M2, money go up. Dollar go down, money go up, right? It doesn't work like that. Now, let's talk about the cautious bullish case a little bit, okay? Basically, long story short, if we break out from here, we could hit 100K. I've said this before very openly. You know this. I have also said we could go even higher to $150,000 levels as well. In my Patreon, you'll know my rough targets and where my exit strategy literally is. Problem is, we've got this 4-year cycle monkey on our back still a little bit. Now, I'm still in two minds right now, and I'll be brutally honest. It feels a little bit different this cycle. I've said it quite a few times. And if it is different, I want to tell you and be honest with you. And people go, oh, but you're fudding. Let me know in the comments if you do think I'm fudding, but I'd rather be brutally honest and just say the market as I see it and how I play it. And that's kind of how I am. I always have been like that. Yeah, it works sometimes. Yeah, it doesn't. I'd rather not lie to you. We've got to look at the highlight risk here. We've got macro, we've got fake outs, we've got low conviction rallies, and we have bear market psychologies literally lingering around like a bad smell. Literally. And then you got market fatigue from investors and participants in the market. When you combine them all together, we were at a point, right? Literally, think of it this way. Donald Trump's in office. Yes. Bitcoin reserve. Yes. Fucking Ross is free. Yes. Oh. Where's the rest of it, mate? Why is the music stopped, right? And that is going to fatigue people. We've seen it all the time with the likes of the low conviction rallies. You see the bounces of relatively weak. We see the views on YouTube and stuff like that is lower because of that. And if this bull case is still alive and kicking, we need to walk through this storm, but we're not exactly doing well with it, are we? Let's be honest. We need to kind of get better with it. And everyone's just getting damp and wet and soggy, and it's horrible with the drawdown. So we need to be very, very careful. That chart alone is the Bitcoin price performance into lows. We should have had more of a leg up, in my opinion. We've been brutalized a little bit. Whether we get a late leg up, I'm not the biggest lover of cycle theory in terms of like the data and the count and the numbers, but I can see a trend when I see it. That black one's lagging. Now I want to leave you with a final thought. The bullish setups don't mean guaranteed results because this market likes to fake you. Let's be honest here. The smartest traders prepare for both directions. For me, I'm holding my Bitcoin. People have asked me that question quite a few times. I'm not going as heavy in terms of altcoins, you know that. I'm still actively dollar cost averaging on Bitcoin with my separate challenge fund, which is growing quite nicely, by the way. And yeah, I want to keep it simple. I want to try and stay ahead of the herd and not get absolutely battered. I think if you are going in the mindset like previous cycles, and I want to be brutally honest here, if you are going off, oh, dominance is high, let's buy altcoins, you've got to look at your individual altcoins. You've got to have high conviction because we haven't had a reversal there yet. Everything else is showcasing bullish signals, but we've got the low conviction to prove it. That's the issue. So there we go. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. Please do comment, smash that like button. I want to know what you guys think. It majorly helps if you comment. It's good for engagement. I reply to every single one, as you know. But do you think that Bitcoin is going to explode out this level? Hopefully it does. Or do you think it's going to fake out again? Because we are still in that kind of, I think, 50-50 zone.